Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're taking you on like a whirlwind tour of three amazing Indian states, Manipur, Telangana, and West Bengal.
And, just looking at the research you sent over each of these states feels like its own little world. We've got floating national parks and ancient forts and a festival where they make these incredible towers out of flowers. It's going to be a fascinating journey.
Right. And that's what I love about India. It's a country of contrasts, a place where ancient traditions meet modern innovations. So to kick things off, let's head northeast to Manipur, often called the jewel of India.
It's a landlocked state tucked away in the foothills of the Himalayas. And it's home to the mighty people who have a history and culture that stretches back centuries.
Now, when I hear landlocked, I immediately think about food. Like, how do they preserve food without easy access to coastlines? Did they have like unique techniques?
That's a great observation, and you're right on the money. One of the staples of Manipuri cuisine is gungari, which is fermented fish. This method of preservation was essential in a landlocked region and gives their dishes a very distinct, pungent flavor.
Fermented fish.
Yeah.
Wow, that's definitely an acquired taste. But it just goes to show how geography shapes culinary traditions.
Absolutely. And speaking of shaping traditions, Manipur has a fascinating history. Their ancient capital, Kangla Fort, dates back to the 15th century BCE. It served as the royal seat for centuries and witnessed the rise and fall of empires.
Wow, can you imagine the secrets those walls hold? It must have been a truly powerful place.
It certainly was, and that sense of history is still very much alive in Manipur today. You see it in their festivals like Lai Haroba, which celebrates the creation stories of the Meitei people through vibrant dances and rituals.
I read that they also have their own version of Holi, right?
Yes, it's called Yeosung, and it's a truly unique celebration. Along with the usual throwing of colors, they incorporate traditional sports and martial arts into the festivities.
Okay, that's definitely a Holi celebration I'd love to see. It sounds so energetic and full of life.
It is. And that energy carries through to their music as well. The pena, a single-stringed instrument, is often used in storytelling, and their Sankirtana musical tradition, which blends singing, drumming, and dancing, is actually recognized by UNESCO.
Wow, UNESCO recognition. That's a huge deal. It shows just how deeply rooted their cultural traditions are.
Absolutely. But Manipur isn't just about preserving the past. They're also making a name for themselves on the global stage. Their classical dance form, Manipuri Ras Leela, has gained international acclaim, and they're producing some amazing athletes in sports like boxing and weightlifting.
So we've got culture, history, and athletic talent. What about natural beauty? Does Manipur have anything to offer in that department?
Oh, absolutely. For starters, they have the Shirui lily, their state flower, which blooms only in the Ukril district and is said to have a very delicate fragrance.
A flower that blooms only in one specific district. That's pretty unique. It must be something special.
It is, and that's not all. Manipur is also home to Kibul Lamjau National Park, which happens to be the only floating national park in the world.
Hold on. A floating national park. What does that even mean?
It's situated on Loktak Lake, the largest freshwater lake in northeast India. The park itself is made up of these floating islands called fumdis, which are essentially masses of vegetation, soil, and organic matter. It's a unique ecosystem, and it's home to the sangai, an endangered brow-antlered deer that's found only in Manipur.
Okay, you're telling me there's a national park made of floating islands, and it's home to a deer that's found nowhere else in the world. Manipur just keeps getting more and more fascinating. I'm already picturing these lush green islands with this unique deer gracefully leaping across them.
It's truly a sight to behold, and while we're on the subject of Loktak Lake, you have to visit the Imakikal in Imphal, the capital city.
Okay, tell me more about Imakithal, because I'm intrigued.
It translates to Mother's Market, and it's one of the largest all-women markets in Asia. It's been around for centuries, and it's a testament to the strong role women play in Manipuri society.
A market run entirely by women. That's amazing. I love that they have this space dedicated to female entrepreneurship and community.
It's truly inspiring. And, before we leave Manipur, I have to teach you how to say hello in Meitei, their official language. It's Kumjari.
Kumjari. I'm definitely going to remember that. All right, Manipur, you've officially blown my mind. Kumjari. And thank you for the incredible first stop on our Indian adventure.
Let's move on from the breathtaking mountains of Manipur and journey south to Telangana, a state that's a vibrant tapestry of history, art, and culture.
Telangana, here we come. What's in store for us in this part of India?
Well, I've got a personal anecdote about Telangana, having visited Hyderabad myself a few years
Oh,
back.
you did? Tell me everything.
The first thing that struck me was the architecture, especially the Charminar. It was built in the 16th century, and it has these intricate minarets and arches that are just breathtaking.
Wait, the Charminar was built in the 16th century. That means it was constructed during the reign of the Qutb Shahi dynasty, right? The ones who founded Hyderabad.
Exactly. They brought a strong Persian influence to the region, which you can see in their art, architecture, and even their cuisine. But before the Qutb Shahis, Telangana was ruled by the Kakatiya dynasty. They were known for their impressive temples and irrigation systems.
So I've got the Kakatiyas, then the Qutb Shahis. Who came after them?
After the Qutb Shahis, it was the Asaf Jahi dynasty, also known as the Nizams, who ruled from the 18th to the mid-20th century. They left behind a legacy of grand palaces, cultural institutions, and a unique blend of Hindu and Islamic traditions.
Wow, so Telangana's history is like a layer cake of different dynasties, each leaving its own distinct mark on the state.
It is, and that layering effect is what makes Telangana so fascinating. It's a melting pot of cultures, traditions, and architectural styles.
Okay, I'm already feeling overwhelmed by all this history. Let's talk about something a little lighter. What about festivals? What unique celebrations could we experience in Telangana?
Well, there's one festival that's truly unique to Telangana and a site you won't soon forget. It's called Bathukama.
Bathukama is a new one for me.
During Bathukama, which is a celebration of the goddess Gauri, women create these elaborate flower stacks using seasonal blooms like marigolds and chrysanthemums.
Flower stacks, like how big are we talking?
They can be pretty impressive, sometimes reaching several feet in height. It's a visual spectacle with these colorful towers adorned with turmeric and vermilion. The women then dance around these flower stacks, singing traditional songs and celebrating feminine energy and nature's abundance.
Yeah, so they build these incredible structures out of flowers and then they dance around them? That's amazing. It sounds like a celebration of art, nature, and community all rolled into one.
It is, and it's one of the things that really stood out to me during my visit. The skill and artistry involved in creating those flower stacks is phenomenal.
Okay, Bathukama is officially going on my bucket list. What other festivals should we check out in Telangana?
Well, there's Bonalu, another vibrant festival dedicated to the goddess Mahakali. It's a celebration of Shakti, the divine feminine energy, and it involves offerings, processions, and lively dances.
From flower stacks to goddess processions, it sounds like Telangana takes its festivals seriously.
They do. It's part of their cultural fabric, and it's something you can feel in the air, especially during these celebrations.
All right, I'm ready to immerse myself in the festive spirit. But first, let's talk about music. What kind of melodies fill the air in Telangana?
Telangana has a rich musical heritage with influences from both North and South India. Their folk music is lively and often features instruments like the dole, a double-headed drum, and the shinai, a double-reed oboe.
So it's a blend of traditional and classical music.
Exactly. And they have a fascinating storytelling tradition called Ogu Katha, where stories of deities and heroes are narrated through song and dance accompanied by these instruments.
It's like a musical history lesson.
It is. And alongside folk music, Carnatic music, which is a classical South Indian tradition, holds a significant place in Telangana. In fact, one of the most prominent Carnatic composers, Kanchurla Gopana, also known as Bhakta Ramadasu, hailed from this region.
So we've got lively folk music, classical Carnatic melodies, and epic storytelling through song and dance. What about the food? What culinary delights await us in Telangana?
Remember how I mentioned those unique flavors I experienced in Hyderabad?
Oh, right. You were telling me about the Persian influence on their cuisine.
Exactly. You can't talk about Telangana cuisine without mentioning Hyderabadi biryani.
Ah, Hyderabadi biryani. It's legendary. I've heard so much about it, but I've never had the chance to try it.
Well, if you ever get the chance, you absolutely must. It's a culinary masterpiece, a perfect blend of Mughlai and Telugu culinary traditions with fragrant rice, tender meat, and a symphony of spices.
Okay, my mouth is officially watering.
And alongside the biryani, you have to try sakinalu, which are these crunchy, savory snacks made from rice flour, sesame seeds, and spices. They're often enjoyed during festivals, and they're absolutely addictive.
Biryani and crunchy snacks. I'm starting to think my trip to India might turn into a full-blown food tour.
Well, you won't be disappointed. Telangana is a paradise for food lovers.
Okay, so we've explored the history, the festivals, the music, and the food. But what about the natural side of Telangana? What kind of flora and fauna can we find there?
Well, keep an eye out for the Tanadu flower, which is
Yeah.
their state flower. It's also known as Tanner's cassia and has these beautiful yellow blooms.
Wait, isn't the Xanadu flower also used in the Batakambama festival?
You've got a good memory. It plays a central role in those flower stacks, adding to the vibrancy of the
Oh,
celebrations.
that's right. It all connects.
It does. And as for fauna, Telangana is home to the spotted deer, their state animal, and the Indian roller, their state bird, which is known for its vibrant plumage.
So from colorful flowers to vibrant birds, it seems like Telangana is a feast for the eyes.
It certainly is. And let's not forget about the people. Telangana has produced some incredible figures throughout its history, like Sarojini Naidu, the Nightingale of India, who is a prominent poet and freedom fighter.
And what about P.V. Narasimha Rao?
Right.
He was the Prime Minister of India and hailed from Telangana as well.
Exactly. And then, of course, there's the world of Tollywood, the Telugu film industry, which is based in Hyderabad. Ramoji Film City, the world's largest film studio complex, is located right there.
Wow, I had no idea it was the world's largest.
It is. It's a testament to the vibrant film culture in Telangana. Speaking of Hyderabad, it's a city full of historical landmarks. You have the Charminar, which I mentioned earlier, the Golconda Fort, which was once the capital of the Qutub Shahi dynasty, and the Birla Mandir, a stunning white marble temple.
Okay, so Hyderabad is definitely a must-visit. Are there any other places we should explore in Telangana?
Absolutely. If you're interested in history and architecture, you should head to Warangal, which was the ancient capital of the Kakatiya dynasty.
Oh, right, the ones who built all those incredible temples and irrigation systems.
Exactly. In Warangal, you can visit the Warangal Fort, a magnificent structure that dates back to the 13th century, and the Thousand-Pillar Temple, which is known for its intricate carvings and towering pillars.
It sounds like Telangana is a history buff's dream come true. Before we move on, could you teach me a couple of Telugu words, one of the official languages of Telangana?
Of course. How about Dupam, which means incense, and Pal, which means village?
Dupam and Pal. I'm definitely going to need those when I'm exploring Telangana's villages and temples. All right, Telangana, thank you for the incredible journey through history, culture, and delicious food. But now it's time for us to head east to our final destination, West Bengal, a state known for its rich literary heritage, its artistic spirit, and its vibrant cultural scene.
And did I mention the food? You're in for a treat with Bengali cuisine.
Okay, West Bengal, land of Tagore, Satyajit Ray, and Alan. Incredible food, apparently. I have to admit, I'm a little intimidated. This feels like where India's intellectual and artistic heart really beats.
You're picking up on the vibe perfectly. Kolkata, the capital, was the center of British India for a long time, and that legacy is still felt. But it's also where movements like the Bengal Renaissance took shape, pushing back against colonial rule in a really unique way.
See, that's what I find so fascinating. It wasn't just a political struggle. The Bengal Renaissance was about reclaiming their own cultural identity through art, literature, and even science.
Exactly. Thinkers like Raja Ram Mohan Roy weren't just fighting for independence, they were redefining what it meant to be Indian in a modern world. And that spirit is still woven into the fabric of West Bengal today.
Okay, I'm ready to dive into this,
Yeah.
but before we get too serious, tell me about these adas I keep hearing about. They sound intense.
Adas are like intellectual jam sessions, you know?
Wow.
Bengalis love a good debate, a passionate discussion about everything from politics to poetry. Imagine gathering with friends over endless cups of chai and just letting the conversation flow wherever it takes you.
That sounds amazing, but also a bit exhausting. I can barely keep up with my book club discussions. Is there like an Adas for Beginners guide I can check out?
You'd be surprised how quickly you get swept up in the energy. It's not about being right. It's about the joy of exploring ideas together. And don't worry, there's always room for humor and personal anecdotes in between the big debates.
Okay, you've convinced me. I'm adding experience and add it to my to-do list. But what about those neighborhood paras you mentioned?
Paras are like micro-communities within the city. It's where you find those tight-knit bonds, where everyone knows your name and looks out for each other. It's that sense of belonging that really defines the Bengali spirit.
I'm sensing a theme here. Passionate conversations, strong community ties. Does this translate into their festivals too?
Oh, absolutely. Durga Puja, their biggest festival, is a testament to that collective energy. Imagine entire neighborhoods coming together to build these elaborate pandals.
Hold up, pandals, what are those?
Pandals are temporary structures, almost like pop-up art installations, built specifically for Durga Puja. They house these incredible idols of the goddess Durga, and each one is a unique masterpiece.
So it's like a citywide art exhibition combined with a religious celebration.
Exactly. And it's not just about visual spectacle. There's music, dancing, feasting. It's a truly immersive experience that engulfs the entire city.
Wow, okay. Durga Puja sounds like something everyone should witness at least once in their lifetime. But what about something a little more low-key?
Well, if you're looking for something more intimate, there's the Push Mela, a winter fair held in Shantiniketan, a town founded by Rabindranath Tagore.
Oh, Tagore. Didn't he win the Nobel Prize in Literature?
He did, the first non-European to receive the honor. Shantiniketan was his vision of a place where education and creativity could flourish. And the Push Mela captures that spirit. It's a celebration of folk music, dance, and crafts with a very relaxed, almost bohemian vibe.
I'm getting strong festival vibes from West Bengal.
Yeah.
But what about their everyday music scene?
West Bengal is a melting pot of musical traditions, from classical Indian ragas to contemporary folk rock. But what really sets them apart is the ball tradition.
Ball music. I'm not familiar with that.
Imagine wandering minstrels singing soulful songs about love, loss, and spirituality, accompanied by simple instruments like the ektara, a one-string drone instrument. It's raw, emotional, and deeply rooted in Bengali folk culture.
Okay, I'm getting chills. Just imagining that. It sounds almost mystical.
It can be. And then, of course, there's Rabindra Sangeet, the songs composed by Tagore herself. These blend elements of classical music with folk tunes and are still incredibly popular today. You'll hear them played everywhere, from weddings to radio stations.
It's amazing how Tagore's legacy lives on, not just through his writing, but through his music as well. It's like he infused the entire culture with his creativity.
He did. And while we're on the subject of creative legacies, we have to talk about Satyajit Ray, one of the greatest filmmakers of all time.
Oh, yes. His films are considered masterpieces of world cinema. Didn't he direct the Apu trilogy?
He did. Those films, along with many others, put Bengali cinema on the global map. Ray's films were known for their realism, their humanism, and their ability to capture the complexities of Indian society.
It's incredible how one person can have such a profound impact on an entire art form.
Absolutely. And it speaks to the rich artistic heritage of West Bengal. It's a place that nurtures creativity in all its forms.
Okay, I'm officially inspired to go on a Bengali film binge now. But before I do, let's talk about the food. I've heard so much about Bengali cuisine, and I'm ready to dig in.
Oh, you're in for a treat. Bengali food is all about balance, sweet and savory, spicy and subtle, and always with a touch of something unique.
Okay, break it down for me. What are some must-try dishes?
Well, fish is a staple, of course, prepared in countless ways. Curries, stews, even fried with a light batter. But there's also a strong vegetarian tradition with dishes like shakto, a bittersweet vegetable medley, and dal, lentil soup, that's a staple throughout India.
And what about dessert? I have a serious sweet tooth.
Oh, Bengalis are masters of sweets. You have to try rosagala, which are these spongy cheese balls and syrup, and sandesh, made from fresh paneer and molded into intricate shapes and flavored with cardamom, pistachios. They're like edible works of art.
Okay, you're speaking my language now. I'm already picturing myself wandering through Kolkata's markets, sampling all these amazing treats.
You won't be disappointed. Bengali cuisine is a true sensory experience. But beyond the culinary delights, West Bengal also has stunning natural landscapes to offer.
Okay, tell me more. What natural wonders await us in this state?
Well, for starters, there's the Great Banyan Tree, located in the Acharya Jagadish Chandra Bose Indian Botanic Garden near Kolkata. It's over 250 years old and covers an area so vast it looks like a forest in itself.
Wait, one tree that looks like a forest? How is that even possible?
The Great Banyan Tree has these aerial prop roots that grow down from the branches and take root in the soil, creating new trunks. It's a truly awe-inspiring sight.
Okay, that's going straight to the top of my list. What else is there to see in West Bengal?
Well, if you're a wildlife enthusiast, you have to visit the Sundarbans.
Those Sundarbans, that name rings a bell.
It's the largest mangrove forest in the world, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and home to the Royal Bengal tiger, as well as a diverse range of bird species and other wildlife.
Mangrove forests, tigers. It sounds like a wild adventure.
It is. But you can also find tranquility in West Bengal. If you're looking for a peaceful retreat, head to Darjeeling, nestled in the foothills of the Himalayas. It's famous for its tea gardens, its stunning views of Mount Kanchenjunga, and the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Darjeeling tea. I've heard so much about it, I can already picture myself sipping a cup of tea with a view of the Himalayas.
It's a truly magical experience, and if you want to immerse yourself in art and culture, you have to visit Shantiniketan. The town founded by Tagore. It's home to Visva Faradi University, which Tagore established as a center for learning and creative expression, and it has a very unique, almost bohemian atmosphere.
Wow, West Bengal just keeps getting more and more diverse. It's like a microcosm of India itself.
It is. And before we wrap up our exploration of West Bengal, I have to teach you a saying that perfectly captures their spirit. Baro Mashatero Pabon.
Okay, what does that mean?
It translates to 13 festivals in 12 months.
13 festivals in 12 months. Okay, that's officially the best saying I've ever heard. It sums up everything we've talked about, the passion, the vibrancy, the love for life, and celebration that defines West Bengal.
It does, and it reminds us that in West Bengal, there's always something to celebrate. It does, it really does. And it reminds us that in West Bengal, there's always something to celebrate.
Well, that's Manipur, Telangana, and West Bengal explored. 3 incredible states, each with its own unique flavor and personality. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling incredibly inspired to book a ticket to India right now and experience all this firsthand.
I'm right there with you. Just going through this research has reignited my wanderlust.
Me too. And you know what's really struck me? It's the way each state balances tradition and modernity. We've talked about ancient forts and festivals, but we've also seen how these states are embracing technology, pushing boundaries in sports, and gaining global recognition for their art forms.
It's that dynamism that makes India so captivating. It's a country that's constantly evolving, yet deeply rooted in its heritage.
Absolutely. Okay, I have to ask, out of everything we've covered today, what was your biggest aha moment? What really surprised you?
Honestly, it was learning about Manipur's floating national park. I mean, a national park made of floating islands. That's just mind-blowing. It's a testament to the power of nature and the ingenuity of the people who live there.
Right. And it's home to the sangai, that unique deer found nowhere else on Earth. It's like stepping into a fairy tale. What about you? What resonated with you the most?
For me, it was the concept of adas in West Bengal. I love the idea of these passionate intellectual conversations that spill over into everyday life. It's a reminder that learning and growth can happen anywhere at any time. It's such a beautiful part of their culture, that constant thirst for knowledge and debate. It's inspiring, really.
It is. And it makes me think about how we connect with our own communities. Do we have spaces for those kinds of deep, meaningful conversations?
That's a great question to ponder. Maybe it's time we create our own adas right here, right now. So tell me, what stood out to you as a listener on this whirlwind tour? What images or stories will you carry with you?
That's the beauty of these deep dives. They're not just about information, they're about sparking curiosity and inspiring you to learn more.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe this deep dive will inspire you to take your own journey to India someday.
Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those deep dives going.